Hi, this is Rich Nakville, and today we're going to talk about the Theta meter. So, a lot of people have questions for me, but I thought, hey, since I learned it from the master himself, I'm going to interview him. So, Rich, what is a Theta meter?
Well, a theta meter is this thing here on the screen, and it's like a, it's kind of like a lie detector or an ohm meter. It registers resistance, and it's extremely sensitive meter, and it's going to measure the energy fluctuations when you think certain things.
Right.
You're gonna, some things you think of, it's going to pack it up, and it's going to cause more resistance through the meter. It kind of goes through these are the electrodes, like positive, negative, or the flow goes through it like that. Uh, and when the needle goes this way, it means more energy is packing up, and then when it goes that way, less. And it hits both pegs, and it pops back to the set position where
Right.
you see it pop. But uh, actually, go ahead and click it on circle meter. It goes in a circle.
This one, right?
Yeah, yeah. And see, when it goes back and forth, it means in consciousness or you're mentally speaking, there's not really a lot of energy fluctuation one way or the other. It's kind of just floating back and forth, the needle is, and it means your attention is relatively free of things. But when you think about certain things, you get an instant read. Well, I should maybe wait for more questions. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Just jump in and
All
start
right.
talking. Right.
So, let's talk about what people see on the screen, like the time, TA, timer, counter. What are those?
Okay, when you're doing a session, you want to, like, how long does it last? So you have a timer. You can keep track of your stuff like that. And then the other thing is actually just what time is it right
Yeah.
now? It's 2339 minutes. The TA stands for emotional tone arm. And originally these meters were manual. I mean, they were hard. They weren't
Yeah.
digitized like this. They're a box with like an ohm meter,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a little handle, a knob that looked like a little arm. So it was called the arm. And emotional tone, generally speaking, the it's like 3.25.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's generally speaking an indication of a person's emotional tone. If the thing was packed up to like 6, that would mean there's a lot of resistance in my system, and my emotional tone would be like
Yeah.
all fucked up or something like that. So they call it the emotional tone arm, and it fluctuates. When there's more resistance, it jacks up higher and higher. Less resistance, you would used to use a knob to turn it down. So blah blah blah, electronic bullshit. But now it's all automatic, and it'll just register emotionally a person's tone, generally speaking. And there's a
Right.
counter down there,
Mm-hmm.
and oops, what just happened? We broke it. There's a counter down there, and it doesn't work in circle mode. It works in with one of the other meters. Yeah, every time it pops to the that side over there, it will tick on the counter, and the more ticks you get that way, the more you're finding when you're doing some spiritual work.
Right.
Another way to look at this is it's a lot like a biometer where they got muscle testing sort of meters, press on the hand. They got pendulums and just different things like that.
Right. So basically, like, well, where people have pendulums and let's say they're doing muscle testing, tarot card readings or something, like meter is just like another tool, right?
Yeah, it's just instant reads.
Yeah. So where can you use this like Theta meter?
One way I like to use it is when addressing entities. So if you're scanning your body, where's the entity? If you can't see it or feel it, but you just got a sense that it's there, people normally, everybody's got entities of some sort.
Yeah.
If I could scan for one right now, it'd be the self-conscious one. Our electronics are a little goofy here. The needle is stopping on us. I don't know
The
why
meter's like used up.
yeah, it's an old meter. Uh, but yeah, it's not supposed to just stop like that. Uh, but okay, so if I were to scan for an entity in my space, where is it exactly? Wherever I put my attention on it, I'm spotting it, and I'm by looking something at something directly, you're bringing it to the conscious mind, and it stops measuring resistance in the unconscious or subconscious energetic system. So,
Right.
okay.
Makes sense.
So when you spot it, the needle will go that way, like that. Okay. And this needle is going kind of back and forth anyway. So you get practiced and trained on how to use it and how to read it, things like that. But if I was scanning for an entity right now, I'd be like right there. See how fast that was? And that pop, just, as soon as I put my attention, it just happened to put it in my head, my skull, and right there. And is it like, how big is it? You know, so the needle went pop, pop when I asked how big it is. So it gives, you know, you get a read on your question too. If you ask a question, what color is it? Does that matter? You know, well, it reads. Well, it's kind of a gray there. See it pop just like that? So anyway, this meter will help you ask the right questions. You can ask a question. If you don't get a read on it, you ignore the question. If you get a good pop right away, good question. And then you start searching for your answer, and then you get the same or very similar read on the meter. You know, you're looking in the right place. So it helps you do things, and finding entities is one of the big things that I use it on.
Yeah.
There's other things too.
That makes sense. So, you know, like talking about reads, it goes right and goes left. When we have done some sessions and remote viewing and scans, we've seen all kinds of reads where the needle goes back and forth, is stuck and all. So, what kind of reads can you get on this meter? And
Well,
what do they mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. The most important reads, we call it, the needle is falling this way, it's falling to the right. And so rising, it rises to the left. It rises in resistance, falling in resistance. But anyway, that away is a fall, and that away is a rise. And the best reads are the long fall, and it goes all the way to the peg and pops back. And so that's the most important reads. Sometimes they go bam, 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 bam. And you know, that's a really good read there.
Yeah.
So whatever you're addressing, it's kind of like that. Whatever you're addressing, you know, it's hot. It's a good item to pick up on, because it means you're able to see it subconsciously, and you're starting to pull up, and you can confront it. If you can't confront the stuff in your subconscious, this thing won't read on it.
Right.
And if you can't confront the stuff there, you shouldn't be addressing it. You only want to address what you can actually deal with if you did see it clearly. So you can look for past life incidents with this, all kinds of different things. You just ask the question, and the right question will read, and then you look for the answer in your mind, and you'll get that read again, and when you're looking for your answer.
Right.
Kind of like that.
Good. Thank you. Now, how did this meter help you?
I used to do a lot of work on myself. I still do. But I used to do a lot of entity work, and you know, scanning the body for different entities on different subjects. And you spot the entity, and then you communicate with the entity. You know, it's like you having an internal conversation with an imaginary entity, right? Doesn't matter if it's imaginary or real, you're having a conversation, right? And the emotional charge releases, while at the same time you have new realizations about the issue. So it's a deep subject about entities and how to deal with them and things like that. But when the entity leaves, your needle goes back to, you know, real loose. and goes back and forth.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, would you like to demonstrate? Let's say, like you already like did in a way, but let's say pick up on an entity or something, and like let's say have a chat or something. See how it works.
Yeah,
Would
yeah.
that be something you're interested in, or not really?
Yeah, we could just do a quick on the. I can look at, my feeling state or emotional state, making a video like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little bit self-conscious.
Yeah.
See how big that read? So let's just say, like, is there an entity that's self-conscious? See, that didn't read. It's going to be reading from that center point, where it always pegs back to.
Yeah.
You're right about up there, right?
Yeah.
So that didn't read self-conscious. So I'm kind of going through in my head, asking myself questions real fast. And the one that reads is the one I could say out loud. Yeah, is that an entity? And it read, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so now we can go, okay, where is this self-conscious entity? So that read on the question. And so now I scan my energy field. We broke it.
Oopsie. Yeah, you'll have to disconnect it and all.
What the hell? We have another one in
that works better.
That works better. All right, used the fucked up one, right? Okay, so yeah, this is an old one. That's why this is kind of funky. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so scan the energy field for where is it self-conscious? Yeah. It's in the electronics here, sabotaging the. So yeah, that's how you spot them. Let me scan make sure that's it really is there. Yeah, is it? The question was, is it really there in there?
Right.
And it went bam, 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 bam. Yeah. So this isn't a demonstration on how to release these entities. So I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that's fine. No worries. But yeah, that pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
So I guess for people that are interested in this sort of thing, Theta meter is just like what we use for like doing sessions, quick scans. People write us emails about their case where they abducted entities and other things. And while I have visuals, and for me the problem is that I open up way too much too fast, and I will see like, what's my past life? I'm like, which one? Like, motherfucker, I'm seeing like over 3,000, at least. So the meter helps me to focus on specifics that people want me to look at or they're interested in, traumas or anything else. So like for me, it's like a good way to focus, and it's a good tool.
Yeah, yeah. For example, to be a little more specific to help people understand that, so we can use this on the clients, and we can both tune into our client, and we can read their energy field telepathically, so to speak. That's one way. And then Akvila can look at her own, she can see the person's imagery and past life and different things, and she can look more specifically with questions. Let's say the entity, hey, I feel like I have a star family. Could you look into that? It's too broad of a question. So we might ask in one of these deep scans that we do together. Says, well, tell us more about the star family. Your curiosity. Well, why you? Well, I just feel like I've got this close connection. Sometimes I feel like they're trying to get in touch with me, and so we can check. Is your star family trying to get in touch with you? See, I didn't get a read because no. But with a client, if they were, and they would read. And then so let's say that read and it was yes. And it's still too broad. It's like, what is it about the star family? Is it like your friends, your loved ones? Is you had a falling out with? You're going to go back to? we need to get more specific because there's way more than one star family.
Yeah.
So this will help guide either Agvila or me, or you if you had a meter like this, to look into your stuff, and it'll help you go. And you can, another way you can use it is like how long ago something happened.
Yeah.
Subconsciously, it's all recorded. We don't know it analytically how long ago it was, but let's say you're talking about a specific past life, like the first, let's say the first life you came on Earth and you reincarnated a few times. When was your first incarnation on Earth? And you're asking how many years ago was that? And so then you can scan, and you'll get the read when you pick off the right amount of years ago and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
Same with locations and how many entities you have in your space and how many times were you abducted, the 20 in bags, the MyLabs, and all the other things. Like, it pretty helps with that.
yeah.
So I guess we're kind of done here. Kind of
yeah.
explain this. Thanks. That was like nice.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we can wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah, I use this every day. I'm doing different kinds
Yeah.
of things. So yeah, it's pretty handy. I've been using them for 50 years, by the way.
Wow.
I bought my first one in 1970. It was in a little wooden box. And I had about 3 or 4 different ones in a wooden box. And then this technology came around, and I got one of these.
Which one do you like the best, the wooden boxes or this one?
I like this one, this digital one, better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Oh, and you can just generally on YouTube, on Google, you can search around for, they call them e-meters, they call them psychometers, like psychometer, as a psychometer, an encephalograph. Encephalo means brain,
Okay.
brain graft.
Big word.
Yeah, an encephalograph. And they also call them Theta meter and e-meter encephalograph, and also they call it I think it's a Matheson bridge. It's
Wow.
it's the old diagram technology for the original meters. I'm called and yeah,
Good stuff.
yeah,
Well, hey, thanks for explaining it all.
sure.
All right, people. Well, we'll be wrapping it up. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.